My name's Scott, and today I'm going to show you how to access Verizon's hidden millimeter wave coverage on their website. So let me explain about Verizon's 5G. They call it ultra-wideband, but there's two different types of 5G signal. There's C-band, sometimes also referred to as mid-band, and then there's millimeter wave. And for illustration, I'm going to show you their home internet gateways. They're different products, and they each only support one type or the other. And there's a difference with each kind, so C-band travels much further, but it's slower speeds, up to 300 meg on their home internet products. But millimeter wave, much shorter range, but much faster speeds. So before we go into that, just a quick plug. If you are interested in learning more about my experience with Verizon 5G home internet, do check out these other videos. But now let's take a look at the Verizon coverage map. It's not until you zoom in to a certain level that you will actually see the different types of coverage. So I've zoomed in a little bit closer and I'm looking at Las Vegas because that's where I live. And you see that the dark red in the key here, it explains that's 5G ultra wideband, but that's both C-band and millimeter wave. So, it's interesting, but it's not quite as useful as it could be. 4G LTE is this lighter color, and then there's an intermediate color, which is called 5G nationwide. Just ignore that because it's basically the same as 4G. The data for what is millimeter wave coverage is still on the map, it's just hidden. So using your desktop computer and using the Chrome browser, if you go to the Chrome web store, you can install this extension called Verizon Coverage Map Millimeter Wave, which, like the image shows, will reveal the millimeter wave coverage. When we go back to the coverage map, you see these darker areas, and that represents the millimeter wave coverage, and it is shown on a street level because millimeter wave coverage really only works line of sight. So that's why it's down at the street level, because that's as far as it's going to reach. So this is the Las Vegas Strip, and you can see, of course, that the Strip itself and some of the properties and businesses around that are covered with millimeter wave. We actually have very good C-band coverage really across almost all of Vegas. The exception being the airport, but that's expected. Unfortunately, C-band can interfere with altimeters in some planes. They're trying to sort that out right now. And so Verizon and AT&T have voluntarily offered to limit their C-band coverage around airports. But as you can see, they do have millimeter wave coverage. Well, let's take a look at some areas in the rest of the country, just for comparison. So let's zoom in New York. And again, you can actually see this has got fairly extensive millimeter wave. It's all centered around streets, of course. But it's not just Manhattan. It's in Brooklyn, it's in Jersey and Newark and beyond. Over in the Bay Area, millimeter wave really does seem to be fairly concentrated in the downtown areas of San Francisco in particular, and Oakland here, with extensive 5G on C-band elsewhere. In Miami, there's actually quite a few gaps on C-band, but quite a lot of millimeter wave, especially in Miami Beach, as you might expect. A lot of tourists, a lot of people around that area. But it's interesting, we go to the Midwest, and Chicago has both pretty good C-band, but also extensive millimeter wave, but not just downtown. If I zoom back out, some of these outlying towns also have coverage too on both C-band and millimeter wave. Looking at Dallas, you see those gaps around the airport, another airport here, of course, and actually quite a lot of gaps right now in C-band, but Verizon are literally spending billions of dollars investing in building out C-band. So this is still a work in progress, and this does change quite rapidly. LA is such a spread out city, of course, we all know that. It has pretty good C-band, but it also has a ton of millimeter wave as well. So I hope this has been interesting and useful. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe or give me a like. Thank you for watching.